Right guys, today I will show you how I made this 3D lyric video inside After Effects. Take the cover, right click, transform, fit to comp height. At the top, select the rounded rectangle tool, draw it out like that. Change the roundness to 50. The track mat, cover image, select the shape layer we just made. Keyframe roundness, go to the beginning. Turn it up to 540. Go to flex plugin and apply bounce. This one will be the background and I will scale this up to 600. Make all these layers 3D. The fast box blur, so 25. Then color balance, -75. Also to make sure that it never cuts off of the borders, add a CC rapid tile. It's basically motion tile on steroids, and take 2000 for each of these sides. Change the tiling to unfold. Now make sure this is parented to the cover. Now keyframe the scale, Z rotation, optics compensation. The field of view at the top. For the effect, turn it up to 150 so it's completely a ball. Keyframe it. Now for the scale, we want to make sure it's completely small. So take it for 50. Make a keyframe at 150 and also at the bounce. Then go a few frames forward, make a keyframe for rotation and turn down the optics compensation to 0. And the rotation in the beginning should be -180. We're gonna select these keyframes and apply some easing. My favorite, smooth in. So press right click, solid, make it white. Then press S, unlink it, also make this a 3D object. And turn up the second value to 500, so it's much bigger. Press P, drag this to the side, and this will be positioned here. Then go at the top, select the star tool, then press Shift and drag it up, align it in the middle. Now the properties play a big part. First changes to white, then the points to 3, inner radius to 260, and the outer radius to 400. Then we'll rotate it by -90, press P, drag it to the side. Let's make sure it's a 3D object. Scale this down, make sure everything lines up perfectly, and parent it to the white solid. Create a null object, and this animation will contain a lot of null objects. Will be used as cameras, as movements, to parent everything together. Now everything that's not already parented has to be parented to the null object, and make sure everything is a 3D layer. Make a keyframe for the Z rotation and for the scale. And the scale is in a lot to 480. And the rotation, do not play with the last value, only with the first one. Make it -1, and it's basically a full rotation in the left direction. It's -360. Now go forward, put the scale to 100 and the rotation to 0. For the easings, apply the snap in, another null object. And I highly recommend you guys get the void plugin, this one. It's just a massive time saver. So you just go on void and then press Shift, make sure it's 3D. Then the positions, separate them, and we'll make a keyframe on the X position and for the scale. Change the scale to 68 and the X position, drag it manually to the side so it matches up. Smooth in, done. Now go at the top, select the rectangle tool, and we'll make a basic square like that. Make sure it's aligned in the middle. Change the color to black. Add a text. Write the first lyrics. Scale it down. We'll use Proxima Nova Bold. Now again, make sure both are 3D objects. Write out all the lyrics. And I will start by parenting it to the shape layer, then copying it, Command-C, Command-V, inputting the new lyrics, making sure the size matches up. Make sure to go into properties and do not change the scale because this will fuck up everything. Just unlink the size and then drag it out. It will be much smoother in the end. Once you have all of them done, select everything, parent them to a null object, make sure it's 3D. Scale it down, make sure it's positioned cleanly on the side. When you press normally it's very slow, but when you press Shift it's much faster. It's very useful. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly. I want them to be in the middle of here, but still under the cover. So something like that. Now first we'll animate each of the shape layers. Select at the top the anchor point tool and make sure the anchor point is always on the left side. We'll start with the first one. Make a keyframe for the scale and make sure to unlink it here on this button. And also opacity, also make a keyframe. Then drag these back. The scale, the first value has to be 0. So it comes out from the left and gets animated up. And also opacity from 0 to 100. Smooth in. Select the keyframes here and then select the other ones. Also make sure before that the scale is delinked and then you can just copy it in. Now slice plugin, and we want to slice all the letters. A normal click will slice it by words. So click one time on it and we will do this for all of them. For effects and presets, and take the fast box blur. For this kind of text size, take 6, make a keyframe. And also for the opacity, turn it to 0. Then for the position and separate the dimensions, keyframe the Y position, and then the opacity goes up at the same speed of the Y position. We need to apply the flex bounce. It's a very clean text animation. Now you can't just copy it onto everything else. You can only copy it on the same height. Because you can see on the next line, if you separate the dimensions, the Y position is different. So you have to go through each one of the groups, but you can copy it the ain't, you can copy it on the compromising, and then take only the fastbox blur and the opacity, copy them and paste them onto the other ones. And then also make sure to make keyframe on the Y position, drag it back, move it down the same rate, and then also apply the flex bounce and then copy it onto the other one and basically animate everything like that. Now that we adjusted all the timings for the animations, unlink everything from the null object, then we'll duplicate this 3 times and take the first one, parent them all to the second one, press P, and then adjust the position on the first one -50, then keyframe the other ones, like the beginning thing, and then the shape layer and the text to the third one. Press P, then press -100, -150, and then the last to -200. Now before you delete each one of them, we need to adjust the text, because if the text is the same Z distance in the 3D space, sometimes it fucks it up. So select all the shape layers and then unlink them all from the null objects and take all of these null objects we just made, then make a new null object, make it 3D, and this one will be, type in the back, -20. So each of the texts are -20 in space forward. Now delete all of the null objects we had and parent everything again to the text. Go back and make sure to animate the white solid. I just separated the dimensions and animated it with the easing, the smooth in. So it comes in from the right to the outer direction and then it moves in. So this is important because we want to parent the text null we just made to the white solid. So the lyrics are placed on them like that and everything moves together. Select the latest camera we have where everything can be controlled and press Shift left click onto the void. Drag it down, everything is clean. Go through to here, then press P, and this is the same process for all of the ones. We always want to make it 3D, split the dimensions and almost keyframe all of the values because we will animate all of them. So keyframe scale, rotation, go forward, we're gonna scale it into 156. The rotation, X rotation -11, the Y rotation 21, the Z rotation -4. This will be on the coupe. And also always make sure to apply easing for this, smooth in. You want to sync it up to what he says or whatever movement you want, what fits the best. And then the next one comes in, moves again in the same timing so it never stops moving, moves it to the gang. Then the next comes in and this moves onto the right gang. One final zoom null object. This only handles a simple scale in here, and then this is important for the transition to the next. It has a keyframe for the scale and Z rotation, and it has the snap out easing, so it moves very fast to the end. Scale in to 200 and the Z rotation to 100. So it rotates in and then we have the animation transition to the phone. I already have a marker here. At this point, wanna cut off everything like that. Next thing I did is edit the fisheye effect. Completely simple, just add an optics compensation, keyframe it, and transform the scale to here. And then at the final stage, it's 80 to 140. And I use the fast linear for the easing. Right, so now that we got the first animation done, if you're really interested in this, comment down below if you want a part 2 where I go in depth in the second kind of effects, combining a 3D iPhone animation. You will need the Element 3D iPhone. Textures, everything is already pre-made. The main crucial part is the same like I did in the last Element 3D video. You have to go on the Element 3D layer, custom layers, custom texture maps, and then you will select the screen. And this ensures when you change something in the screen, it gets changed automatically on the phone. Here you can see it's a very detailed iPhone with everything already pre-made. Click on the world transform and then create a world null object. It's parented via expressions and then you can make other null objects and control it even more. So you have to have this first link. This just makes sure it comes from the bottom like this rotated and then comes up and then goes back. I used a shape layer, just a simple plain circle which gets scaled up, and then to make it even more clean I applied the fastbox blur and optics compensation. This, and at the beginning it's at 0 and then at the end it's at 9 and the other one at 90, and you can see it looks much cleaner because it looks like the rest of the image gets pressed away. Then the phone comes in into the screen. I made this whole animation, just went into here, made a text object, split it up with slice when he says where, and I use the same text animation I used on the other one where I have the position, the blur radius and the opacity. It comes up here, and then also with the flex bounce, it bounces up. And then the map comes in, just go into Apple Maps, then make a screenshot. I just took the capital city of Peru, Lima, then grabbed the assets and took also a screenshot on my iPhone of the interface of the iMessages, then the Peru. Took it into here, put the text also in here. Then to achieve this effect, this glass effect, just click on this yin and yang button, apply the fastbox blur at 20. This is also the effect I showed in previous videos. So it comes in, simple, and then it bounces up and the other stuff goes away. And this is when it zooms in at the end. Everything is synced to the music. And then in the main comp, it's just a 3D object. And as you can see, it rotates to the side and then up like on iMessages. If you have any questions about this particular part of the animation, just drop in the comments. Just zooms in onto the where. This one zooms up to the map. The next one zooms in into the middle. At the end, it's completely on the ball. Last one just ensures there's a rotation in it. See, like this, and then it rotates in and has a perfect transition. And also at the top, I added a blur just to merge everything together. Fastbox blur, 5 at the beginning and 25 at the end. Now it comes to the sound effects. I took the notification sound. I used this one here. Made sure always when a new pop-up of the text comes, notification sound. But for the time stretch on the first, it's 90. It's like the sauce. And then the second one is 100 and the last one 110. And this just ensures that the timing is different. Everything is included in the sound effects pack on Patreon on my premium assets in the description down below. Then the next is just a simple whoosh, stretch of 150. This just merges the phone transition really cleanly. Typing sound, when he types in where. When he sends it up here and you want to make sure on the fastest movement, it's on the highest point. And at the end, it's just a radar ping. Make sure when it comes in, the sound goes up. So it's like scanning. $500,000 on the coupe, gang, gang. Drug houses, looking like Peru. If you're interested in this project file, check down in the description on my Patreon. If you're interested in my tools, check it also on my website, ebertfr.com. I sell Flex, Scope and Slice, all very useful plugins. Bye guys.